Which falsehood would you like me to address? The financial one or the one about my views on affirmative action? Because I can go in whichever order you'd like.
Did you not make $750,000?
On the financial piece of it. Not at the time that I had applied for the scholarship that fall.
Yes, you did.
That December.
Yes, you did, Vivek. This is awkward for you because you did. I've got the tax returns in front of my face.
No, it's not awkward.
I'm excited to say I partnered up with Ground News, but more on them at the end of the video. So when someone is running for president, they have to expect that it's going to be a lot of digging into their background, because we want to know exactly who are we electing to lead millions of people in America. And we know for a fact when you decide to run for president and you start to make a name for yourself, you have to expect that. And that's why it's better to have genuine people run for president. And what that means is like someone who naturally has a heart for the people, someone who naturally wants to solve America's issues, you know, the best way as possible. And we're not looking for anyone perfect, but when you start looking into their background, into their history, you can kind of see if someone is genuine or not. And I'm talking about this guy right here, Vivek. He's almost like a used sales carsman to me. You know what I'm saying? Like he tries to hide a lot behind his vernacular. He tries to hide a lot behind his $1 million smile. If you can look beyond all that, look into their history, it is easy to see who they really are. Who are they really trying to serve? And that's why I support someone like a Cornel West, because you can look into his history and see exactly who he is. Yes, he owes a lot of money to the IRS, but he's also been advocating and actually working for the American people, for Black and brown communities. So he has a nice history we can look at and compare that to other people. And in this interview, he gets extremely exposed for that, and he has no answers to it except for to be a smartass. If that's your answer when someone's trying to ask you a simple question and your response is just to be an a-hole, then that shows a lot right there. You know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and watch this interview and let's have that conversation.
Vivek Ramaswamy, thank you so much for coming on the show today. You and I both grew up as kids of Indian immigrants who love to debate, super confident, perhaps overconfident in our views. But here's the difference. I kind of know my limits. You, on the other hand, having never held or even run for any elected office before, be it Congress or even school board, having not voted in 3 presidential elections in a row, suddenly now want to be president, go straight for the top job on planet Earth. Your critics would say that's the epitome of tech bro arrogance. What is your response to them? I get that you're an outsider. Personally, I like outsiders. But what have you done that even qualifies you to be president of the United States?
So look, Mehdi, I have been taking on bureaucracies my entire life. I took on the bureaucracy of big pharma starting in my late 20s, at a time when I think pharma was corrupt and going in a lot of directions that they shouldn't have been. I actually built a multi-billion-dollar business developing medicines that pharma had abandoned. I took on the ESG bureaucracy, competing with firms like BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard to build a successful firm called Strive. Yes, none of that is in government, but it is in the private sector. It involves taking on bureaucracies. Okay. And that exactly is my mission here, is taking on the biggest bureaucracy of all, that in the federal government in Washington, D.C. And the other thing I'll add to that, Mehdi, is it's not just the outsider pitch. I think we do need an outsider. I think it's good to have a business background. But I'm also an outsider who deeply understands the law and the Constitution in this country. And I think that's the unique combination that actually makes this my calling. And I hope that we're going to be successful in reviving this country.
So you talk about your business background. Let's talk about that. You made your name and made a lot of your early big money from pushing an Alzheimer's drug that had already failed 4 clinical trials when you bought it. You then talked it up on CNBC, in Forbes, on the cover. Your company's subsidiary shot up by billions in value when it went public in 2015. But then the drug failed its phase 3 trial on your watch. The company lost 75% of its value in a single day. Ordinary investors like the California State Teachers Pension Fund lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. But you cashed out beforehand via your parent company to the tune of, I believe, over $37 million. Your critics say it's a classic pump and dump scheme. What do you say to them?
Uh-oh. Let's see.
Yeah, Mehdi, that's the standard opposition research during politics reading line. Anybody in the biotech industry knows this story very well. 99.7% of Alzheimer's drugs have failed. That's thousands of drugs. Mine was one of them. But the company I founded, Roivant, developed a range of medicines. And the way I made my money was not through the failure of that Alzheimer's drug. This is one of the pieces of misinformation from opposition research. I could have sold shares in that subsidiary Alzheimer's company, but didn't. So the person who was hurt by that was me.
Hold on. But you say this a lot, but you did sell shares in Roivant, and you made $37 million.
And Mehdi,
$37 million.
Mehdi, I think you owe it to your audience. Mehdi, I think you owe it to your audience to be accurate. That is shares in a different company, not Axovant. And those shares that I sold are worth, and those shares are worth dramatically more today. So I would have made more money had I held on to those shares. So don't believe what the opposition research purveys through the media.
It's not opposition research. We looked at your tax returns, which you very kindly have released.
Yeah, exactly.
And you
which I voluntarily released. Because I want to be transparent.
You made $300,000 in 2014 on capital gains. In 2015, after the IPO of this Axovant, you made $37 million in capital gains. Yet others didn't make that kind of money.
After Mehdi, give me a break. After Roivant, the multi-billion-dollar business that developed 40-plus medicines, yes, I sold shares in that. And that business, if I may actually allow you to know how I made my money, developed 5 FDA-approved therapies that are now FDA-approved today.
After you sold
one
the
of them is a life-saving therapy in kids.
When you were CEO,
Another one,
were
they were FDA. Actually, over the time that I developed them, we took them all the way through phase 3, and then we did a $3 billion deal that actually
they were approved a year and a half later after you sold the company.
Yeah, so Mehdi, I'm not going to fault you for not knowing the first thing about biotech because that's not your job. But getting through phase 3 is the final stage of clinical testing. Before you hand in the application, yes, my company did a $3 billion deal that actually did make money for those shareholders. And so, yes, I have built Roivant's a publicly traded company, nearly $10 billion public company today that I built as the sole founder from scratch as one of several companies that I've built. So, yes, I have a business record that I'm proud of and will equip me to lead this country.
You mentioned stage 3 trials. The Alzheimer's drug failed it after you did a lot of touting of it. You say 99.7% failed. You never said that at the time. Do you have any regrets about how you hyped that drug?
I did say that.
CEO of Roivant said this week that you hyped the drug. Do you regret hyping it?
We did not hype the drug. To the contrary, actually, one of the things that I've found
this week.
Well, I can't speak for what is or isn't. I haven't read any article that you're quoting, so I don't exactly know what you're referring to. The fact of the matter is, though, I have been transparent at every step of the way. Everyone who is in the biotech industry knows that Alzheimer's disease is the graveyard for medicines. But I still think it's an important area of need. And I'll say this, Mehdi, is, you know what? If I serve for 2 terms, I'm still going to be in my 40s when I leave the White House. It is a personal passion of mine to come back and see if Alzheimer's disease hasn't been cured. I do want to play a role in still delivering treatments and cures for that disease. And people who don't take risks, don't achieve meaningful impact, the medicines that I did develop, I'm proud of. And you don't get there without having a number of medicines that you test along the way. And the other thing I will say is our success rate under my watch was higher than probably nearly 99.9% of biotech startups in the last decade. So, yeah, I stand by that record. I'm not afraid of taking risks. That's part of the American spirit, and I stand by it.
Technically, the successes were a year and a half after you sold the company, but we'll get bogged down.
All right. Okay, so when it comes to shareholders starting companies and the whole pump and dump type of scheme, that's a real thing. Like, I don't want people to think that there's no such thing as a pump and dump. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these, celebrities, they are really getting into that. And that's why you have to be extremely careful on who you're putting your money into. It's things like this that gets really difficult to really pinpoint someone's motives, because oh boy here, he is Hassan, I think that's his name is. He is trying to pin Vivek as someone who essentially started up a pump and dump. Have all these investors, all these people put their money into his business, and when he knows that it's going to fail, he goes ahead, cashes out. Everybody else loses their money. The paper trail seems to look like that, but Vivek is saying no. During the third phase trial, before the paperwork, we already celebrated. We already got our money because it was essentially done a year and a half before. Is that true? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I've never been a part of that process. I don't want to pretend as if I do know, but it does seem a little weird. It does seem a little shady. And a lot of these business people, a lot of these millionaires, they are known to do some shady stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to say that is Vivek, because once again, I tried to look, I couldn't find anything, maybe because I don't know what to look for, what to ask. But it's just one of those things, like a lot of people who make a lot of money using this sort of tactic, some of them have been caught, pumping and dumping. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to make it seem like I'm just always hating on Vivek, but I'm just saying, it's if he made his money without scamming people, without hyping things up, knowing that it's going to fail, because like you said, the Alzheimer's drug, it has a really high failure rate. So, I mean, is it his fault that people are still putting money into it, knowing that it's going to fail? I don't know. But once again, if he made his money trying to be genuine and trying to be honest, okay. But I mean, statistically, it's been proven that, it's a pump and dump. So I don't know what to think with that.
Because the audio they released, you're still denying you said what's on the audio. Okay, let's ask you this question. Is Donald Trump,
it's a
as
joke
you say now,
that the media is going to selectively edit this, and this is the way this game is played. Politics is dirty. That's okay. I'm ready for it. It's not edited,
just to be clear. Is Donald Trump, as you say now, the best president of the 21st century?
Of the 21st century. Yes,
he was. Let me ask my question. Let me finish the question. Is Donald Trump, as you say now, the best president of the 21st century, who you say you want as an advisor and a mentor if you become president? Or is Trump, as you've said in the past, in your books, on Twitter, a, quote, sore loser who is a, quote, danger to democracy and who did, quote, downright abhorrent and egregious things on January the 6th? Which one is he, Vivek?
Now, this, once again, this can be an easy answer if you're being honest, if you're being genuine. He said things in the past, now he's saying something different. So that's where it gets a little weird if you're not trying to be honest. If you're just trying to have your talking points because you don't want to, discard, probably like 70% of Republican voters, then you're going to have to do this weird gymnastics to where you said some things about him before. Now you got to flip it to where you didn't really say that. It's kind of like, I said it, but I didn't really mean it like that type of conversation. So let's see how he handles this question.
So to be crystal clear, between George Bush, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and Donald Trump, those are the presidents of the 21st century. Donald Trump is unambiguously, as judged by the results, the best president of the 21st century. Kept us out of wars, grew the economy. I give him full credit for that. I want to build on that foundation and take this country to the next level.
But you've also called him a sore loser who is a danger to democracy. Those are strong words.
Would I have made the same judgments that he has made at every step of the way? No. I will remind you that I am running for U.S. president because I am best positioned to lead this country forward.
Can I ask you what they are, Vivek?
Yes.
You say he behaved in downright abhorrent behavior that makes him a danger to democracy.
Yes,
what was it that was downright? Tell me what he did that was downright abhorrent.
Let's actually be...
Hey, you. It's weird to say that someone is a danger to democracy. A danger to democracy. That's the one thing that separates America from a lot of other countries, okay? But then go on and say he's been the best president of the 21st century. Once again, like, you have to really finesse the conversation. You got to really finesse your talking points to make that make sense. You can't, that's just weird. Those are two totally polar differences. It's the greatest, but also the greatest, threat to democracy. Just be like, you know what? I had a change of heart, and I didn't know what I was talking about back then. I was, I guess younger, but let's see how he tries to flip this so he doesn't alienate his supporters.
Let's actually be really fair to your audience. So on January 10th, 2021, thereabouts, days after that incident, I wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal arguing that censorship was the real cause of what happened on January 6th. When asked in response, somebody asked me the question, are you... That's what I wrote. I'm giving you the facts of what I said. That's a hard fact. That was published in the Wall Street Journal. When pressed on, was that condoning what Trump did? My answer was no. There's a difference between a bad judgment and a crime.
And
we
you're
need
avoiding
to
my
be
question.
able to tell the difference in this country.
What did Donald Trump do,
no, I'm not avoiding
in your view, that was downright abhorrent? Second time
I think that the thing that I would have done differently if I were in his shoes
not what I asked,
is
Vivek,
I would have
respect.
declared re-election on
That's
January
not what I asked,
7th.
I'll ask it a third
That's
time.
exactly the thing I would have done.
What did Trump do that was egregious, quote, downright abhorrent, and a danger to democracy? Can you just explain to our viewers? Your words.
So you're mixing two different quotes. But what did I think was reprehensible about what happened that day? Look, I think that the way a true leader should have handled that situation should have been to actually say, this is me running for re-election, not actually litigating what is already passed and behind us. And I would have done things differently. That is not a crime, though, what he did.
I understand.
And the reason I have been so vehement...
You keep saying what you would have done. I just want to hear from your mouth. No, unless you're scared of him, why weren't you saying what he did that was downright abhorrent?
I'm not going to let you... You're stitching together three things from three different places to create a caricature. Do you want to have an actual conversation?
Yes, I want you to answer my question, Vivek. Three times I've asked it. What did Trump do that was downright abhorrent? It's a simple question. It's your words. It's on screen. What did he do that was downright abhorrent?
I believe that failing to unite this country falls short of what a true leader ought to do. That is why I'm in this race, is to do things differently than any prior president has done them. That's the hard truth, okay?
And that's what made him a sore loser and abhorrent.
The media,
yes, your words.
Well, the reality is none of that is a crime. And the reason I have been so vocal, is because...
Oh, my God. Okay, you're being vocal, but you ain't answering the question. He done asked you like 4 or 5 times. What makes Trump a threat to democracy? And I guess specifically, he tweeted that some days after January 6th. And he doesn't want to say he caused a riot, he caused an insurrection, damn near treasonous. Like he doesn't want to say that. But if it was anybody else, that would be the obvious, clear answer. Easily. But of course, he can't really say that. He can say, okay, I would have handled things differently. He didn't really do it. But he doesn't want to give a solid answer. Trump effed up. That was the real threat to democracy because of transfer of power is one of the few things that separates America from a lot of other countries, from a lot of other historical events. Is when the transfer of power is disrupted. And that damn near happened. You know what I'm saying? So that's the threat to democracy. Just say it. People, if anything, people are going to respect you more if you could just be 100 with them. But if you keep trying to play this, tiptoeing, tap dancing around the answer, bro, you're going to lose the real critical thinkers. Be like, hey, you can still be a Republican and be like, you know what? Trump crossed the line right there. That easy. People are still going to love you. But of course, you can't do that nowadays.
distinction we have to draw.
Understood. You say you are anti-identity politics, anti-affirmative action in a party that hates the Soros name, yet you accepted a Paul and Daisy Soros scholarship at law school that was specifically set up for the children of immigrants. It was an affirmative action scholarship, and your defense for that is that you didn't have the money to pay for law school, even though you'd already made over $1 million at the time and made another $2 million.
My defense of that is somebody gives you a merit scholarship at the age of 24, you take it. At the age of 24, somebody gives you a merit scholarship, you take it. I didn't say I didn't have the money. I said at a time when I had a lot less money than now, $50,000
you said exactly I didn't have the money, Vivek. You keep forgetting your quote. You said, when I didn't have the money.
So, Mehdi, I've made this really easy for everybody. And I did this in the early weeks of the campaign. I released 20 years of tax returns.
Yes, you did.
Something that no presidential candidate, let alone somebody who's successful in business, has done. I challenge Democrats and Republicans alike, including the Biden family, to do it.
And you
know what? I released it so that you could look at them, so we can have an honest conversation.
Much. And I appreciate that.
The funny thing I've learned,
I do appreciate that. It's something Trump should learn from you.
Transparency is important.
Look,
so
it's
already open and everybody can see it.
Exactly. We have 2009
But the fact of the matter is, you know what I would advise every 24-year-old should take $50,000.
And 2010, you made $750,000. You had the money to pay for law school. You didn't need a Soros affirmative action scholarship that you now criticize.
I mean, none of this is worthy, but if you think it is, let's get to the detail. That was actually the first big piece of money.
You say you're anti-affirmative action. You took a scholarship for immigrants.
I'm anti-affirmative action.
So why'd you take a scholarship for the children of immigrants?
Which falsehood would you like me to address? The financial one or the one about my views on affirmative action? Because I can go in whichever order you'd like.
On
the financial piece of it. Not at the time that I had applied for the scholarship that fall.
Yes, you did.
That December.
Yes, you did, Vivek. This is awkward for you because you did. I've got the tax returns in front of my face.
No, it's not awkward for you. Yes, on December 31st, when the application for the scholarship was that October. Mehdi, you're wasting your time on childish details in October of that year when I applied for that scholarship. And
okay. I just wish now. I don't know. It depends on who you are. Okay, it depends. Okay, two parts of this. One, if you are against affirmative action, but then it's been proven that you've been benefited or you've taken advantage of affirmative action, I think it's safe to say that makes you a hypocrite. I mean, we can look at definitions. But if all of a sudden, when you're running for president, after you done took advantage of it, now you want to try to, well, it's already been repealed, but now you are on the side of affirmative action doesn't need to be relevant today after it's been proven you benefit. Now, if he had the money or not, he still used it. I think that's a little hypocritical to say. Now, of course, he could try to mix it up to be like, I don't know, I think we need to kind of reform affirmative action because I used it. And even though you may not know the details of what my tax returns say, I needed it. You know, I know what that, but if you kind of look into the details under the surface at that moment, I needed it. Like, just be honest, be like, hey, affirmative action does have its benefits. I think we need to kind of go back to the drawing board and kind of fix it up, tweak it up a little bit. But if you're just saying no affirmative action, but then we look back and you participated in that, now we looking at you sideways. Now we looking at you like, bruh, really? Just like Clarence Thomas, a big benefits when it comes to affirmative action, but all of a sudden he's against it. Oh man.
It was, well, guess what? The bonuses that a hedge fund pays, and it's a shame that, again, you don't have to be an expert on this, but if you're going to spout out, you better know something about it. People pay at a hedge fund the bonuses at the end of a year, and on December 31st, that's when I was paid. I applied for the scholarship that September, and I did not grow up in a wealthy family.
Vivek, you made more money the previous year.
I made $200,000 pre-tax or whatever it was.
No, you didn't.
And you know what?
Hold on. No, you didn't. You're now telling flat. In 2009,
you have my tax returns in front of you. I don't remember what I made in 2009.
In 2009, you made $650,000 $50,000. In 2010,
I like how he's trying. I like how he's trying to squint in the screen so he can see it. Like, bruh, you know you're not gonna see the paper, okay? Like, he's gonna have to hold that sucker up like right here, okay? First off, second off, you know how much you made. It was just a couple of years ago. It wasn't like you're in your 50s, 60s, and you gotta account for how much you made in like 1990. Like, bro, it was a couple of years ago. You know how much you made. Don't try to play us and be like, I can't see it. I can't see the paper. Like, come on, bro. Come on. Just be like, you know what? I had the money. And if they giving me money, I'm gonna take it. Just be honest. Okay. If they giving me money for a scholarship and I already got money in the bank like that, that's their loss. Just like if your job pays you on Friday, but then all of a sudden you look in your checking account and you got an extra check from them and you know it's from your company and they must have screwed up somewhere, or if they gave you, an extra 5-6 hours on your check, just be like, you know what? I took it. It doesn't matter if I had the money or not. They screwed up. And now I got some extra money. Hey, that's their fault. They need to be a little bit more aware of their surroundings, okay? Fire somebody who screwed that up. But I got the money. Just be honest. If anything, that's a Trump thing to say. And people will love it. Be like, you know what? That's what I would do too. Mess around, give me some extra money. I'm gonna keep it. I mean, I need the money, so that's a different scenario. I ain't got like $50,000, $60,000 in the bank. You give me 2-3 hours extra on my paycheck, you ain't gonna never know. And I ain't gonna never admit it. You know what I'm saying? Like, just be honest.
And you made less, $450,000. So the argument that you only made the money pre the scholarship, oh, so now we're bringing tax into it. We've been using gross numbers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Vivek, you're wrong on this. Go back and check your tax returns.
$50,000 obviously makes a big difference.
And then you accepted a Soros scholarship for $50,000 when you didn't need it.
Well, you know what the fact is, Mehdi, is $50,000 did make a big difference to me back then. And anybody who has a few $100,000 in the bank is going to take $50,000 without strings attached. Take the scholarship. But my question for you is, why on earth are you, as an intelligent person interested in politics, obsessing over a 24-year-old's $50,000 scholarship?
I'm interested
in
truth,
It would seem beneath
Vivek.
you.
We have a country to fix. That you wear.
And
I'm interested in truth.
And Mehdi, that's why I released 20 years. Mehdi, that is why I released 20 years of tax records.
Okay, so the reason why Hassan, I hope that's his name. It says it right there. Hassan, he is bringing that up because, once again, it is important to know people's integrity. It is important to know what people do in these situations. And me taking the money, maybe that's not a good thing. Maybe I wouldn't be fit to be in the position to govern all people. Maybe that's not me. You know what I'm saying? You need to have a genuine history of not being self-centered, not only thinking about yourself, not screwing over other people. That shows a lot. And if you can have that, you will win people like me, because I am looking at stuff like that. I don't care how much money you done made. I don't care who's your friend. I don't care what kind of suit you're wearing. I just want to know, do you have a genuine heart of helping people? Because the government is here to serve its citizens, to protect its citizens from domestic and at home. You see what I'm saying? That's what a president is supposed to do. That's how the government is supposed to function. But if we have a continuance of greedy people who only think about their own pocketbooks, who only think about their shareholders, who only think about their special interests, we're going to continue to have a government that fails at serving the American people. It is that simple. Just like a job application. If I don't have the history to prove that I can perform at this job function, I won't get the job. If Vivek doesn't have a history of serving anyone, damn it. I mean, like serving without any strings attached, without having any huge benefit for yourself. I know that's hard to fathom for a lot of people because a lot of people's brains are geared to just think about yourself. What do you get out of this? I want something out of this. What about me? Me. But real servitude, you look at, I don't care what I get. I need to serve these people. I need to give these people what they need, what they want. But if it's always reverting back to you and how much you get, I'm sorry, you may not be fit to be president. Because we finally deserve a president that's only focused on the American people, not themselves. That simple. So let's see what he has to say.
Tell your friends in the Biden administration to do the same thing. Tell your Democrat candidates to do the same thing.
We've gone over time.
We're breaking precedents, and I think it is pathetic. I just think it is sad and pathetic that that we have important issues to talk about for the future of a country, and you're talking about a $50,000 scholarship in 2010 to go to Yale Law School when I was 24.
If you just owned
this
it,
is pathetic and is why nobody trusts you guys.
It is pathetic in your view, but you paid a Wikipedia editor who then removed it, so clearly it's something you didn't want people to read about. Last question, because we've gone over time.
Who also said I was born in India. Who also said I was born in India and misspelled and got my wife's name wrong. So yes, we actually need to correct facts when people are playing this game.
Last question. You want me to ask a substantive?
All right. So let's go ahead. Oh man, it is like I stated a few minutes ago. For some reason, politics has gotten away from being substance, from being a character, from being something that you are, and it transformed to who can say the craziest thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, who can out crazy the next person? That's what it feels like. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even really know if we've ever done this because I'm only 36. You know what I'm saying? Has there ever really been a president that's just been like, you know what? I'm only here to serve the American people. And they have a history of doing that. Starting from just serving your community to serving in, a local, state, anything. But now it's just whatever businessman comes on that stage, bragging how much they done made and if it's, legitimate or not, and who can say the craziest thing? Is that what America's turning into? Just another business transferring to another CEO, essentially? We shouldn't even call it a president. Just the CEO of America. Because that's kind of the trend that we're going. And, essentially the Democratic Party is going to turn into that because the Democrats always try to outdo Republicans in some weird fashion. And it's like, that's not going to help us. But I mean, let me know in the comments if you think Vivek and his history is concerning. Do you think a president's history is concerning in general? Do you think they need to have a history of actually serving people and not for themselves? That's the important part. Not for themselves. You served the homeless, but you made $1 million out of that. It needs to be something that is not self-serving, but serving others. That's a real serving the community type of thinking. You know what I'm saying? So let me know in the comments, is that important to you? And if it is, why? And if it's not, why not? But once again, let me know in the comments. And like always, let's have that conversation. It is important that the news that you consume is transparent and allows you to critical think and see from multiple perspectives. So I bring to you Ground News. This platform is like any news site I've seen because it shows you how breaking news is being covered across the political spectrum. And it's a data-driven tool that helps readers like you and me spot media bias through analysis and direct comparison. a news platform designed to empower the readers to compare multiple perspectives to see what details are emphasized, exaggerated, or even left out. Ground News is a website and an app that gathers news from 50,000 sources around the world and puts related articles in one place so you can easily compare coverage. So if you guys are ready to upgrade the way that you consume news and get more grounded into truth, go ahead, use the special link down below if you want to upgrade your news and support the YouTube channel at the same time. Once again, that's Ground News.